Well, I'm getting ready for primer. We have severe workspace limitations outside the paint booth here. So engine lift and other things, I've got no choice, but that's fine. Especially for the priming process, not gonna matter. It is what it is. So I think I can do this truck in 2 stages: bed, hood, tailgate, loose fender, and then the cab will come in, and the 2 doors I can do off to the side over there. And for the whole process, that should work just fine. I'm gonna hit these all with a single stage or a single coat, probably, maybe 2 of epoxy primer. Really not worried about it, just wanna seal it up, and then we'll move on to our high build primer. And once these are dry, we'll push them out somehow. I'm not even sure I can get the bed out at the moment. Anyway, and then we'll do the rest. I'll just show you what I'm talking about. Front half of the shed here is all taken up at the moment, all set up for the auction in a few days. So I really can't do anything. And then in here, everything that has to do with me, customer cars and my one vehicle clear in the corner. You can see I'm boxed in, you know, severe parking lot problems. The attendant's gone. He gave up. So I got to figure out how to do some work the rest of this week while dealing with that, but we'll get it done. So next I'm going to be putting on the Eliminator high build polyester primer. And obviously we will only be spraying that on the areas that you can see, certainly from the outside. Bedsides, the hood, the outside, you know, no jams, no interior edges, none of that needs it. Just what we need to focus on to make this thing look right. Well, there you go, guys. I'm not going to show you too much of priming because it's boring. I will show you top coating and clear coat perhaps, but we got through 3 coats. We had to be Johnny on the spot. There's a very short window of flash time on that product, only a few minutes in between coats, so you just got to, once you're done priming, if you have to reload the gun, then it's right back to where you started and you just keep going. I got 3 coats on. I put a 4th coat on our trouble areas, you know, where we really had to weld and do body work. And hopefully that should be good. If we rub through down to metal or filler somewhere, that's okay. We will deal with that when we come to it. Not a big deal. I got through 2 quarts or half a gallon out of that gallon can. The remaining half gallon should be plenty for what we have to do, the doors and the bit on the cab that we have to do. So we're in good shape there with only a gallon. I'm gonna let this cure. I'm gonna go out, continue finish sanding, scuffing, preparing for primer on the cab, the fender, and the doors. And we'll just keep on keeping on, right? All right, well, I hate to do it, but a guy's got no choice. If he wants to make progress, this is just how it is. Until tomorrow, at least. That's when the farm auction is. So I'm in the paint booth and I'm sanding. Oh well, we'll just clean her up really well when we're done, right? I'm using kind of a traditional body shop method. I got my high build primer, putting my charcoal on there, or my guide coat, whatever it is, and then just sanding it off with 400. I don't know if you can see from your vantage point, kind of have a high or a low spot there that I'm working on. Just have some grainy black that remains. So we have a low spot, and you know, it wouldn't be terrible if it was left, but you'd probably see a little distortion in the paint when all was said and done there. But if we just take our time and get that out. I'm trying dry sanding on this project. See if I like it, a little less of a mess. Clogs the paper up, that's for sure. Little wipe with a shop rag, preferably a clean one, but you know, to each his own, do what you want. And we're gonna get that out. We're clear at the front of the bed, and we're already dealing with the little flare for the fender opening. And again, guys, like I say all the time, this kind of detail work, this goes above and beyond what the factory ever would have considered important. But if you want to stand back at the end of the day when it's all said and done and painted, out in the sunshine, and say, "Ooh, doggies," then it's necessary. Pull a Jed Clampett on it, you know. Well, we're about there on this spot. And I'm going to do this on all the high vis. Got to keep it trendy. All the high vis areas, the bedsides, the doors, the fenders. But everything else, the jambs, front of the bed, that'll all get sanded down, of course, but it doesn't require this level of attention. All right, now I've got the cabin chassis scooted in here along with the doors on these stands that I made for the 71 Chevy project. I'm sure you remember that. I've been masking up here. You know, I'm going on an hour and a half so far of masking, and that's the prep work on a paint job is where your money really gets sunk in, right? But we're almost there. Just about have everything masked off that I need to. Just need to do a little bit more work back here. I put the rope around the seal, and it worked in some spots, but in others, not so much. And I want that popped up like that. So I think what I may go get is, or find around here, an old extension cord and see if I can get that in there, and maybe that'll open that up all the way around a little bit better. Then I'll mask that off, throw a drop cloth over the frame back here, and then we should be ready to prime. I'm going to do the same treatment as I did on everything else. Epoxy, high build primer, and I only need to do the high build on the top, the rear corners, and just a narrow strip under the back window. Everything else lower down, and the door jambs can just have epoxy on them. That'll be fine. Of course, the front fender over there, and That's the goal for the day. Everything else, we've been block sanding on the bed. That's out there for the dust purpose. Our auction is over and done with. There's still a bunch of stuff that was sold and needs to be picked up yet out there, but I'm trying to gain some room here and reorganize after all of that debacle. So things will kind of get back into normal swing of things. It's looking kind of empty in here. You know, all the cool stuff is gone. But anyway, that's another thing for another day. I'm going to get back to work right in there. Pardon the mouthful of sunflower seeds. Me and the boys have been sanding on the bed. It's on the other side. Kind of keep the dust, away from in here. But anyway, I'm about done with the hood. And you can actually see of the epoxy and the 3 coats of the high build how thin it is actually getting. You know, there's not like there's just gobs and gobs of product on here piled up on top of that original paint job. So it's looking really good. I went over it with my light. This guy here found all of any little rock chip. You know, you're just looking for dots with shadows. Any little remaining chips, pinholes, anything like that. And we gave it the old chicken pox effect here, but that'll be fine. We'll sand that down, a little bit of glazing putty, top coat it with some more primer, and that'll be ready to shoot body color. It's enough of a novelty here in Kansas. I love working in a shed when it's raining outside. Okay, so here's where we're at. I am sick of sanding at this point. The cab and this fender are pretty much done. This fender, the hood, the tailgate needs a little bit more primer. Sanding went a little farther than I was hoping, but we got it straightened out. It just needs to be shot again. And the bed behind you, I need to do a little more sanding on it. Maybe we'll reprime some spots, not sure. That's just the name of the game, right? But this is pretty much done and silky smooth. I am actually going to go ahead and reinstall the left-hand fender now that everything is sealed on the mating surfaces between this and this. Then I want this on so that when we're just painting, we can just paint. We don't need to do a separate fender deal. So I will get that going. Put that down. That's got a little heavy in here. Unfortunately, using plastic mask, that pretty much means that'll all have to be remasked, you know, before we go to base coat, because if you've ever painted anything like using a trash bag or a grocery bag for masking, you know, that paint can just flake off so easy, especially when that mask starts fluttering, you know. And I'm just sure I'd get a bunch of flakes and chips of primer in the paint, and it just wouldn't do, you know, it just wouldn't be a good thing, is what I'm saying. So, and I'm going to reverse my order. Before, I did the bed first and the tailgate and all the little parts, and then I did the cab and the doors. This time around, I want to do the cab and the doors, and that way I can be reassembling if I have time, letting things cure on the bed and the tailgate. Then I can be messing with this thing, putting wiring and regulators and seals and everything else back onto the cab. So that's going to be my order there. The only thing I have left to sand is the door, so I've got to get in gear doing that. First, I'm going to get this fender on, and we will move on. this is what we're looking like. Tomorrow morning, first thing, I will come in, I will spray it down. Whoops, I forgot half above the windshield there. Spray it down, wipe it all down, clean it all up, and then we can get to painting. Overall, I'm very pleased with how it turns out. Hopefully I will say that when it's all said and done. I came in, I swept, and I vacuumed the entire floor like I usually do. There's what our repaired cab corner / rocker panel is looking like. A little bit of sand and dust left on it. But yeah, everything's looking really good. So we will see you in the morning. Okay guys, well, we have kind of a cool wet day. It's a little under 60 degrees outside. It's about 61-ish in here, that's just kind of fine with me. The dust is down, and I have fast reducer, so that should work out really well. Everything is degreased and wiped down. I have 12 ounces. I'm going to start with that, see how far that gets me on these doors and fenders. Of course, practically the whole front fenders need the light driftwood satin. The whole fenders, just the center section of the cab corner, and then the center of the doors. Not 100% sure how much I'm going to need, but I wanted to start with this and play it safe because I have the entire bed sides to do later. And I only bought a quart of the driftwood. So, really shouldn't need too much. If I can get 2 good coats, 3 good coats out of this, then I'm going to be perfectly happy. So, I'm going to turn the fan on, wipe it down with a tack rag, and we'll get started. Okay, we've got, I ended up putting 3 coats on just because I felt it needed it. That meant I used, well, at 2 coats, I had used 20 ounces out of my quart can, and then I used another 6, I think. Suffice to say, I only have a little bit left in the can. So I'm going to get on the horn while this cures and call TCP, order that same mix code. Luckily, it's on the separate bed and tailgate. I doubt there'll be a visible difference in the shade, but hopefully we can get it close. That's just getting bit by my conservative nature, not thinking I needed that much, and well, yeah, it's a third of the size of the vehicle, this center stripe, right? And so if a gallon covers the rest, I would need 3/4 of a gallon. I can get it. I have a little bit left in the can, and I can get it with another quart on top of that. So that should be fine. As long as I can get that somewhat quickly. I am going to let this cure the rest of the morning. It's now 9 o'clock. Like, it's a little cool, like we said, a little moist, humid outside with the cows running around having fun in the wet grass. Let this cure till after dinner time. Then I'll come in, mask off all of this, and maybe we'll even get some green on this portion of it today. Overall, very fine, very looking very good. Little bit of trash here and there in it, but not too bad, and I think we can take care of that just fine. Okay, well, it's the next morning. Typically, you want to hit your base coat with clear coat a little earlier, but between one color masking off and then the next color, I didn't get done and cleaned up till about 4 o'clock. Then I had to scoot on home. I had a meeting at church at 6:30, so I had to get cleaned up, eat some supper, and get my rear end over to town. So anyway, you typically, from what I understand, have about a window of 24 hours to get clear coat on, and we're still under that at this point if I get a move on. So we are going to start unveiling our driftwood color here and see how all of our masking, what it looks like. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So let's get to it. Now it's time to start spraying clear coat. By the way, all of these products are from TCP Global. When you're someone that doesn't have access to their own mixing station and so forth, which I don't even want that headache trying to keep paint good and so forth, it would be handy at this time, but when you only do this a few times out of the year, you really don't need that. Anyway, so I just go to their auto color library, I find the vehicle, I find the correct paint mixes, order that, and that's what we got. As for the clear coat, I got their, along with the same order, I got their hot rod gloss, urethane clear coat, and that is what we are going to start spraying. So we're going to try to get 2 coats of this going, and we'll see you on the other side. Well, guys, I think just a little bit more work, and this hood is practically ready for paint. Tailgate's practically ready. Bed is practically ready. So all in all, once I get that next quart of driftwood, we only have a few days, a week on this project, considering putting it back together and so forth. I'm waiting on new running boards, mud flaps, I don't know what else. But it's going together. It's going together fast. We're going to get it reassembled and back to the guy. I really wanted to get things done in 3 videos. As always, I really want to condense these kinds of projects as much as I can. I don't want them drawn out because it's just so repetitive. Same thing over and over. But I think as long as things are getting, and if I want a video this week, because this project has been what I have focused on pretty much every day for the last month, and we're getting there. I have told the guy a couple weeks and we'll be done. He's really excited, so am I, but I have a lot more to do to get that to happen, you know. So I think we're just gonna stop here. You've had a sneak peek of what the paint's looking like, and the next final video we will get these things painted with you, and we will get everything reassembled and the old truck back on the road once again. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to saying it. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one. Ooh, so nice, like butter.